All right, we're here in Cuba testing out the new Ocean Rodeo Alula construction Roam Kite. So there's been a lot of talk on the forums about the new material Alula. It's revolutionarily lightweight, but what sort of difference does it make to performance is what we wanted to find out while we were down here. We've been here for a full week. We've had conditions ranging from 30 knots all the way down to 0 knots. And we've had a chance to ride it and pretty much everything. So we're gonna go through the unbagging and then we'll tell you a little bit more about the on-water performance, and then we'll answer any of your questions in the comments below. So let's start out with actually weighing the kites. All right, so this is the 10 meter Roam. Okay, coming close enough so you can see the scale. Okay, we've got it set. I'm going to reset it at 0. There we go. All right, looks like 5.39 pounds. We'll see how that compares to a traditional 9 meter kite. We've got a couple-year-old duotone Neo in the 9. That's 9.34, so that's pretty much a 4-pound difference in the weight. A little bit of that is probably the bag, because the Ocean Rodeo bag is a nice light bag, but definitely the majority of it is in the kite weight. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Roam, and we'll check out the Alula material on here. That's super light, like that's definitely half the weight of a normal kite. So the Alula material that they're using in the kite is the leading edge and the struts. So on this kite it's the shiny yellow gold material. So it's replaced what is traditionally a Dacron material in the kites, and as a result they've been able to shave off about 4 pounds. You can see it's got cloth going in 2 different directions. It's really stiff in those 2 directions, and even diagonally it's really stiff. So this is a stiff material in every direction. So the inflation system on the Ocean Rodeos is the direct connection with the pump, which is a system we really like. It's nice and easy to use. Although ironically with the WMFG pumps it takes a tiny little adapter. But pretty much most kite pumps will just connect directly to the inflation. All right, you can see we've got almost no wind right now. It's still enough to make the kite float. That's just how light it is. Like, I think there's enough for us to actually fly this today. We'll have to get it up in the air and what's maybe 3 knots of wind. Take a quick little look at some of the accessories on here. The one pump system on these kites is really nice. When you're inflating it, the system doesn't pinch at all. It's really nice, and after you've inflated you can pinch them off. But really nice smooth inflation. So Ocean Rodeo for this year has actually changed their quick connects on their kites. They've actually reversed the way that the kites connect to their line sets. So yeah, let's maybe see if we can fly this right now. I didn't think we'd have enough, but I think we will. Not gonna land it. All right, so we were just flying that on the beach here in what's maybe 2.5 or 3 knots of wind. If you take a look at the palm trees, they're not really even moving at all. Like just barely. And the water is barely has a ripple on it. So I'd say that's definitely the lightest wind I've ever flown a kite in. I don't think any other kite could fly in that light of wind except for maybe a really light trainer kite. And even that would be pushing it. So yeah, if you can ride, you can keep this kite in the sky, no problem. So it's definitely a game changer, and looking forward to many foil sessions where we don't have to swim in anymore. Well, we found the edge of its flying abilities, and it's 3 knots maybe. So let's see if we can relaunch it in this. Hopefully we'll get a 4 or 5 knot gust. Oh, go, 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 go. So close. It is so light. It's like maybe 2 knots. All right, so a big question most people have about the Alula material and these kites, the Roam kite, and pretty much any kite that's going to be made with this Alula material, are they worth the extra money for the extra performance? Maybe we'll start out talking about this Roam kite and what we found on the water this week. This kite is definitely, I've been flying kites since 1999 and testing with SBC Kiteboard Magazine and with Kitesurfing Magazine for the last 20 years. And this is definitely the highest performance kite I have ever flown. The lighter weight definitely translates into a really smooth power delivery, ultra fast turning, and probably the biggest surprise to me was how smooth the power delivery is from the downstroke to the upstroke. There's really no change in the power in the really light winds when you're going up and down. And the other really big noticeable difference is in the light wind relaunching. With the big broad wingtips on this kite and its lightweight, literally being 4 or 5 pounds lighter than a normal kite, takes very, very little wind to back it up and out of the water. I was able to relaunch this kite in probably 3.5, 4 knots of wind with just using the back line, no other lines involved. Super, super easy. For the actual performance when riding on the foil in a straight line, I was able to fly it with just one hand and turn it up and down, no problem. Like super, super light, responsive steering, really smooth. Was pretty awesome that way. As far as the overall wind range, this 10 meter, despite being super, super lightweight, isn't the gruntiest of the 10 meters we've ever tried. And it definitely took 2 more knots of wind to get the foil going in comparison to, say, the Nash 12 meter boxer. That said, if guys were riding on 17 meter kites on a twin tip, this was getting me up on a foil absolutely no problem. So I'd say in the 9.5 to 10 knot range is kind of where it starts going on the foil. And I had it riding up into the 25 knots of wind, and it still felt super smooth with the 3 struts, kept it really stable with 0 flutter. So it's easily got the biggest wind range of pretty much any kite we've ever flown. So in that regard, this kite's definitely worth the extra money. For me and probably most other riders that are into foil boarding, we probably didn't realize we wanted lighter kites until we started riding at the very bottom of the wind range. And people that are riding 12-meter kites, that's when you get into the under 8 knot range, where you can still ride, but the kite becomes more difficult to fly and sometimes even falls out of the sky when you're doing your transitions. With this lightweight material, it's going to make it so that pretty much if we're able to ride, we'll be able to fly the kite. So that's going to solve a huge problem. So anyone who's into foil boarding and riding with 12-meter kites, having a lighter weight kite is going to be worth the extra money. So if these kites end up being twice the price of a normal kite, I know I for myself would definitely spend the extra money for my lightest wind model. Where it becomes a bit more of a toss-up is probably in this 10-meter size. Or most people are going to be willing to spend that extra money for the extra performance. Definitely feels, to put this into comparison to anything else, if you can imagine sticking a 5-pound weight onto your current surf kite and how the performance is right now, and then take that 5-pound weight off and fly it, that's what taking the extra 5 pounds off the kite is like. It definitely is that extra amount of performance. Not everyone's going to be able to afford that extra huge chunk of change, but given that this replaces almost an extra size kite within your lineup, I think a lot of people are going to want to make that commitment to the lighter weight kite. I definitely think it's worth it in the 12-meter size, and I'm going to do it in the 10-meter size as well for my quiver coming up this year, I think. So if you have any questions about this kite or the Alula material, definitely stick them in the comments below. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to our channel for more reviews. And this was just our first look at this kite. We're going to do a more in-depth review of the Alula kites and do a head-to-head comparison with more kites in Cape Hatteras this April. So make sure you like and subscribe, and we can keep you on top of all that. And also look for our light wind head-to-head test in the next issue of Kitesurfing Magazine. And you can find out more information about that on kitesurfingmag.com.